Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Movies for Life YouTube channel. And welcome to this final 1982 horror movie review video. Not the final video. Of course, I'll have my top 20 horror movies from 1982 coming up in a day or two, along with an honorable mention. But this was the last individual movie review for 1982. Um, and that movie I streamed on Amazon. I actually rented it on Amazon Prime. And that movie is The House Where Evil Dwells. So yeah, let's talk about The House Where Evil Dwells. So The House Where Evil Dwells is a 1982 American-Japanese horror film starring Edward Albert, Susan George, and Doug McClure about the American family that moves into a about an American family that moves into a reputed haunted house in the hills of Japan. It was directed by Kevin Connor and produced by Martin B. Cohen. It was based on a novel by James Hardiman and turned into a screenplay by Robert Sahosky. In 1840, in the rural and wooded hillside region of Kushida, Kushiada near Kyoto, a samurai named Shigeru comes home to find his wife, Atami, in bed with another man named Masanori. In a violent scene, Shigiri kills them both and then himself. Flash forward to the present day, an American family of three, which include writer Ted Fletcher, his wife Laura, and their 12-year-old daughter Amy, moves into the since abandoned house and starts to experience incidents of haunting and possession. The three dead people still haunt the house and subject each of the Fletcher family to various harassment and mischief, which gets more frequent and serious with each passing day. A Zen monk approaches Ted and tells him the story about the murders and urges him to leave the house. At the same time, Laura slowly becomes consumed by the evil presence of the three ghosts and begins an affair with Alex Curtis, a diplomat friend of Ted's who introduced them to the house. The evil presence within the haunted house, including the ghosts briefly possessing each member of the family to do odd things, reveals that the ghosts are plotting to reenact a murder suicide so their souls could be free from the confines of the house. So yeah, that's to set up the premise, the beginning of The House Where Evil Dwells from 1982. As far as the cast goes, we have Edward Albert as Ted Fletcher, Susan George as Laura Fletcher, Doug McClure as Alex Curtis, and Amy Barrett as Amy Fletcher. So yeah, that's to set up the premise and the cast for the 1982 American Japanese horror film The House Where Evil Dwells. Um, this movie was okay. It's nothing great. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's just kind of mid. It's just kind of meh. Not a movie that I need to rush out and get on physical media or anything like that. But let's just go ahead and talk about the things that I liked about The House Where Evil Dwells first. And I have to say, I like the opening. I like how the movie starts in 1840, where you have this husband coming home and finding his wife with this other guy, and the battle that ensues, and ultimately the murder suicide that takes place. It had me engaged going into the rest of the movie pretty good. I just think that was a strong way to start the and open the movie with. So that's the first thing I enjoyed. I thought the camera effects with the I thought the in camera effects with the ghosts there were well done, especially for the time. It added some believability to what was going on in the story with ghost possession. So if you haven't seen the movie, the ghosts are kind of an in-camera technique that they use. The three of them that are ghosts now, they're like blue, ghosty kind of figures, but obviously they didn't have a budget to do any sort of practical effects or any sort of even CGI wasn't really a thing yet in 1981. So I thought that was cool. I thought that worked pretty well, that in-camera effect that they had of the ghosts. The acting I thought was solid, led by Susan George and Edward Albert, the couple, the married couple that have some strain between them. Um, they kind of come into this. You can tell they're not completely on board with each other as far as what they're looking for and where they're at, but they seem like a loving couple, and obviously that gets less and less as the movie goes on. But I thought their performances were good. There's quite a bit of sex and nudity in the movie, more than I was expecting. You see a lot of Susan George, especially topless, in two different sex scenes with two different guys in this movie. Her husband, played by Edward Albert, and then the affair she's having with Doug McClure. So just know that if you're looking for nudity, you'll be this movie's got it for you. I did like the ending battle between the characters, even though it was a repeat of the beginning, but how the modern characters were taken over by the ghost, and then as part of that, they took on the traits of the ghost. So all of a sudden, Ted and Alex are doing like samurai fighting and stuff, just like they did at the beginning. I thought that was kind of cool. So I could, yeah, I liked that. I thought that the ending battle, so the beginning of the movie and the ending battle were pretty good and pretty solid in this movie, and I enjoyed them. So those are my pros. Excuse me, I have to take a drink of my Sprite. I'm still trying to get rid of this head colds, whatever it is, upper respiratory cold. As far as cons go, nothing remotely scary or creepy happens in this movie. It's more of a silly ghost folk tale that doesn't have any edge to it and doesn't really deliver any real horror or suspense in the movie. Um, I think there's probably more laughs in the movie that aren't intentional than there are any sort of suspenseful or thrilling kind of moments in the movie. So that was a letdown. Doesn't feel much like a haunted house kind of movie, mostly because of this Japanese house setting. It's not your typical creepy mansion look. For a haunted house, doesn't really set up any suspense or tension as a result. So just kind of forgettable there. I thought the score was very off, as it felt more like a made for TV Lifetime movie than any sort of haunted house horror movie score. So that was a little bit disappointing as well for me. There's very little blood and no gore. With some of the kills at the beginning and the end, there's a little bit of blood, but that's really not what this movie's going for. It's not really what it's about. So if you're looking for gore, you could probably pass on this one. And then my final con is this movie sets up these rules having to do with ghost possession, and then as the movie goes on, it breaks a lot of them, and it doesn't really make a viewer feel very secure in the storytelling by the director or the producer of this movie, or the writer, I should say, not the producer. But yeah, it's just kind of there's definitely some um, inconsistency, shall we say, in what they set up. So, again, I'm not going to totally shit on this movie. It's okay. It's worth checking out on streaming or something if you can watch it for free. I'm going to give The House Where Evil Dwells a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 for The House Where Evil Dwells. And as I said, that's going to wrap up my individual movie reviews for 1982 as part of my overall 1980s horror movie series. But go ahead and comment down below if you guys have seen The House Where Evil Dwells from 1982. If you like it, if you don't, comment down below. Please like this video, hit the little notification bell, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It will really help me out for the future content on my channel and my channel overall going forward. With that being said, don't forget I'll still have another video for this part of the series, which will be my top 20 horror movies of 1982, plus one honorable mention. So 21 movies will be talked about here in the next day or two. I'm thinking probably on the 30th, so a couple of days, and then I'm probably also going to have a channel 2025 looking back and looking ahead 2025 2026 video on the 31st of December. So just kind of throwing that out there. But with that being said, I hope you guys are enjoying this 1980s horror movie series and that you enjoyed the 1982 individual horror movie reviews. Thank you for watching. Hope you're having a good holiday season. And as always, stay scared. Bye.